first try, which is pretty good for me. Um, yeah, man. So how's it been? Like, did you lose power on this last winter spree down there in Texas?
So the one that was, I guess, it's almost 2 years ago now, right? Since the really
Yeah,
bad
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah. That one I was
Um,
still down there for.
so that one, we did, and we actually had to go to Louisiana. So my wife is from Louisiana, so so it's freezing in the house. We have no power. We've been out without power for whatever 48 hours. My youngest son is sick and throwing up.
Yeah,
So
time to go.
the house is cold, and he's throwing up on all our blankets and sleeping bags.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was just kind of a disaster, and so we bundled up and we drove to Lafayette, where my
Mhm.
wife's family is, and so yeah, so then I think you could. So after that, we came back, and it was like we probably this is going to keep happening more and more. The weather temperatures are getting more extreme. The Texas grid is getting less reliable. Those two things combined is kind of a nightmare.
Yeah.
So we actually we got a generator put in at huge expense, but we
Oh,
have a
I
generator.
know. I looked at it. Yep.
Yeah, so and we got the one put in that's piped into, natural gas too, so it's not
Mhm.
the kind of the fill it up with petrol and, whatever. I wanted something that 1, I'm not handy. I'm
Yes.
not a handyman. So it's basically, yeah, it's all done. It has, like, basically a mobile on it, a cell phone on it, and it every Monday morning, it starts up to make sure it's running,
Yep.
and they report back or whatever. They just came out back a couple weeks ago actually to redo the oil and stuff, to make sure it's all good. But it went out actually several times in the summer, um,
Interesting.
last
Okay.
year, with the summer, like the rolling blackouts. But yeah, I kind of don't have to worry too much about it now, because we have that.
Yeah, I looked at that before we moved. Even though like I'm on the same part of the grid as like hospitals, so I don't think I
Yes.
ever lost power. But I was like, there's a probability. And that I know exactly which model you got. Yours is the one that also like it knows when the grid turns off, and so it turns itself on.
Within
Yeah.
5 seconds, it turns on, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You just
So
see a flicker. You don't even like actually notice the power went out.
exactly. Well, you hear it. You hear it, but
Hmm.
you don't even know the power's gone out, but you hear it. So if anyone's familiar with Houston, we're off of a very major street that they're doing like huge plumbing construction on called Shepherd, and they're doing drainage because it floods really bad too. just to add
Hashtag Houston.
just
Yeah.
to add more to it. And so, but they cut the power regularly while they've been, moving the lines and redoing stuff. And so our generator would just come on, so it would be, whatever, a Wednesday at 2 o'clock. And it would be like, well, the generator's on. It's like, they're just doing work. It wasn't like an actual like power outage, but
Right.
it's kind of nice to know that, you can go away and if there has been a power outage, you don't have to throw away all your food in the fridge or the freezer, right? Because everything is on, and you don't have to throw that many freezer full of food before you pay for it. If
Yes.
you have a lot of like nicer food or kids and stuff, you could throw away several $100s of food out of a freezer quite easily. So yeah, it's not. I mean, we're talking like Black Lotus money.
Oh, I know, I know. Because that's why I didn't like. So that's like I got a quote from the probably the same company you got yours done through, and I was like, hey, like I'm looking at a quote, but like just like give me a roundabout number, and they told me what it was, and I was like, I will think about that in the future. Like,
Yeah. Well, we bought a house like 9 months before the pandemic, which is a whole other story in itself. Very
oh
like
yeah,
sort of fortuitous timing on that. And it was basically to get the kids school. So, and the function is where we are now is either we stay in this house till the kids are done school because we got kind of for living in the city, we got the best schools that we could
hmm,
without going to the suburbs, or we move to another country. So it's like we're in this house either for the long run or we're moving because we're moving abroad. So the it's an investment, sort of. The house
sure.
will sell with it, and also it's not like I don't plan to be here for 5 years and then kind of just eat that cost. So
Where are you guys considering moving out of country? If so, which country? That's the best question.
well, it would be more work related. The problem
Oh,
is,
okay, okay.
yeah, it would. It's so yes, we would. My wife would move tomorrow, as would I. The problem is, I don't really want to move back home to the UK.
Sure.
I would, but basically I would take a huge pay cut to do that, and my wife couldn't work, whereas we both work in the US. So there's a little bit of, monetary greed
Sure.
there,
Yeah, yeah.
maybe you could say. And then if it was somewhere else, it would be somewhere that was kind of crappy, but it would be tax free, right? So Middle
Yes.
East, basically. Um,
Oh, okay.
so I'm not a US citizen. So
I'm well aware based off of a recent picture and your accent, which will just, I mean, like accents is a weird topic, but yeah.
yeah,
The
but we would. I mean, and also, I would, if especially if there was somewhere, I'm not looking at jobs in Germany, let's say. I would.
okay.
Would I move there? Would I move there? Yes, I would. I would live in Germany, but that's probably not where my job would take me. I'm trying to wrangle at the moment. I don't know if this is going to work, but with my current job, staying at my current job and just basically telling them, look, I need to be somewhere in one of our other offices, kind of over the summer.
Uh-huh.
And that would be Europe based. And then, wife and kids can come and
Oh,
then I
split
can
the
use,
difference.
well, and I can just basically we could spend the 2.5 months of summer in Europe somewhere. We just rent a house. I could work for several weeks. We could take off a couple weeks of holiday. The kids would be out of school anyway, so no missing school.
Yes.
And then I could do a little bit of travel in Europe with the family and then also personal as well, right? I could hit up some tournaments as well while in Europe. So that would be kind of this exactly the sort of splitting the difference, a bit of the best of both worlds. We have a couple offices in Germany, which is why I mentioned Germany. So
Nice, dude. Yeah, for those of you who've never been to Houston in the summer, escape is paramount. It's just fucking terrible.
and I like the
I'm
heat. I
sweating
mean, I
thinking
like
about
the
it.
heat. Yeah, I mean, I like the heat. I'm from a cold, wet, miserable place, but I lived in the Middle East and Southeast Asia growing up as well. And so, I actually like the desert, and I lived in the jungle. So it's living in the bayou basically
Yeah,
is
it's the best
also
it's the
hot.
worst of both worlds.
It's weird, well, the thing is, so being just hot and being in shorts and a t-shirt is okay. That's fine.
Yes.
Being hot in work clothes is bloody miserable. So like I used to work downtown and would wear a suit to go to court, and like going from my office to court in a suit is like the worst thing in the world. You're just, the sweat drench,
You're
down your
just paying
back.
for the premium parking so you can park like at the courthouse. You're like
Well, I
fucking
didn't have any
$20.
ye I didn't have any money I didn't have any money at that time, so I was taking the train. I was taking the train,
Oh
and then
no.
which was actually fine because there was, like, a little shaded thing under the train, but then I had to walk, 2 or 3 blocks from
Yeah.
the train to the courthouse, and that was, jacket off, just shirt, just and then, you get into, like, the strongest air conditioning you've ever felt, right? It's like, just
Yep.
a
Yep.
the Arctic blast, and you're just drenched in sweat. So yeah, I don't miss that. But when I'm out with the kids wearing shorts and a t-shirt, I put some sunglasses on. The heat doesn't really bother me too much.
See, I like the desert heat cuz it's dry. I
Yeah.
really dislike the humid heat. It gets me and I can't get over it. But let's talk about a place that probably doesn't get very hot. Uh, I would assume at least. Is it Arvika or Avrika, or how do you pronounce it? I'm assuming you would know best.
I've been saying Arvika, but that's probably wrong. I have terrible earworms, and so if I ever hear something said two different ways, I will get it wrong. It's sort of like,
Yeah,
when you guess if is a baby a boy or a girl, or someone's puppy a boy or a girl, and you always guess wrong. I'm exactly the same with names.
fair, fair. We'll go with RV, whatever. Fuck it, just however you want to do it. Doesn't even matter. Well, we can both mispronounce it. Um, did you fly in early or did you do what I call like a helicopter attack? Did you just come in like day before, play, and then leave day after?
Yeah, it was Fast and Furious. I had seen a posting saying that there was a tournament and there's going to be a shark, and I just Googled flights, saw that the flights were really cheap, and I messaged Will and a couple other people and was like, I'm going.
Yes. You're like
I
fuck
so
it.
I basically was like, I'm going. I was like, and I'm flying through Newark, which I knew would be appealing to Will,
Right.
since he's in Philly, so he's an hour away, basically. So yeah, I found a cheap flight. Basically, I found a Spirit flight for me from Houston to Newark, and then Newark to Arvika. So yeah, so I flew Thursday up to Newark. Me and Will went to Harold's Diner to go get basically some poor cats, a bad
Hmm.
version of cats. Sorry, Mano, it is. And then we went, and then we flew out that evening from Newark. It's overnight flight, so a good flight, overnight flight. And when we got to Oslo, 8:30 in the morning Oslo time, and then we had, and that was Friday. So it was Friday morning. So
Right.
we had a whole day before the tournament started on Saturday. So it was the day before, but like kind of optimal flights
Yeah,
with the
and
night
you
flight.
almost have to, right? Because you would get in too early, or you would get in early in the morning on Saturday if you did, like, if you bumped 24, but there's a probability that you wouldn't make the start time.
It's the start time
Yeah.
was noon, so
Oh,
we
okay.
could I could have, but you run the risk of any layover, any delay, anything, and you get screwed, right? So,
Sure.
and I think I think anyone who's flown right now probably has experienced that because the airports are just a mess right now. And my trip there was kind of gravy, but if we do ever get to the trip back, it was not so great.
That's what I wanna get to the trip, like, I always like the trip experiences because, like, I do you actually, this is a kind of a weird question, but when you scheduled your flights, did you schedule just the Spirit flight and then the flight to into Europe? Or did you schedule it all at once? Like, did you know what I mean? I feel
I
like I'm
scheduled
missing value scheduling mine all at once.
I I sh so I look at the flights independently. So
Okay.
I'm not booking it as one itinerary. Is that what you're asking, right? Do I
Yeah,
book
yeah,
it
yeah.
as
One
one?
itinerary.
Yeah,
That's a
no.
better articulation.
I always split the difference on the flights, and I always book direct with the airline as well. I don't book through a third party. This is just experience of having flights canceled.
Okay.
It's very marginal, but you get slightly better treatment if they have you in their system rather than a third party. They'll often point you to the third party if there's an issue. So again, it's super marginal because everyone's in a big shitty boat by that point anyway. Quite
Yes.
frankly, if there's a problem, but I want the best marginal experience
You
possible.
wanna yeah, you wanna min max that margin. Okay.
Yeah, but I,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the main thing was because I'm flying Spirit, I flew with a backpack, right?
Yeah,
That's
you have to. Like, Spirit's fucking insane. I love it, but
yeah. So was
there's
it
no way you're doing anything else besides
well,
a backpack.
so my flight from the flight from Newark to Oslo was $1 and $400 of tax.
Really? Do you have that
Yes.
much saved up?
No, no, it was tax. That was just the tax on the flight. But
Oh, okay.
the cost of the flight was $1 and the tax was $400.
Insane.
So my like little thing, it says like flight $1 and then it breaks down all of the taxes.
It's too much. It's too much. I'm glad that you said that. I booked directly with an airline. That's the first time I've done that, but I'm glad I've done it, and it's for an international flight. So that I'm glad I got it half right at least.
Okay,
But I
can
didn't
are
split the
you
difference.
are you sharing where it is? Where is it? Where are you going?
British Airways
Okay.
for Gothenburg.
Oh, okay, for Newfest.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so you're flying to Heathrow and then Heathrow to Gothenburg?
Bingo.
Okay, okay, that'll be good. That is gonna be great. It's,
S- Same flight as Danny. I paid
okay.
extra. I'm min valued to max value with somebody else.
Well, so the one advantage you will get, I don't do you have a layover in Heathrow?
I do.
Okay, so, Danny, and I will mention this because I got this too, but Danny has, airport lounge access, so you'll get to
So do I. I have
okay, okay.
the Amex Platinum.
Okay, you have the a okay, so which is good, but if you're flying BA, you want BA access because the BA
Yeah, yeah,
lounge
yeah.
in Terminal 5 is fantastic.
All
Is
right,
like
hold on. Let me write that bad boy
top tier,
down.
and I
Okay.
think Danny has access to that. So you'll
Okay.
find Terminal 5 is really nice. BA is a good airline, but when you're flying in and out of Heathrow, you can really kind of you can max that value. Whereas when you're flying other places, just like anywhere that has a hub, right? When you fly into into that airport and their hub, it's so much nicer. Um,
Yes. Uh, so Seattle's Alaska's hub.
yes.
And
Okay.
I've been to the Alaska Lounge, and it's nice. I mean, I'm not like some huge lounge person. I think the plan is that me and Danny are gonna like show up to the airport 3 hours early and like max value the Centurion Lounge, which they
Yes.
just redid, and then get on our flight.
This sounds like Danny to a T. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
when I went to last year, I was in Gothenburg for Easter. We met up in Amsterdam. So
Nice.
we
Okay.
we took separate flights, but he was in Amsterdam, and we went to the lounge in Amsterdam and tried to eke out some more value before we got on our flight to Gothenburg.
You got
Um,
to try it.
it's good. It's good. I mean, I used it on. We used Will and I used it on the way there, and then I used it on the way back because I had a long layover in Newark, and I just went and slept. I went and took a shower, which I
Yeah.
mean
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
after an 8 hour, 9 hour flight to be able to go take a shower if you have a layover is just amazing. That is worth whatever, $20, $40, whatever. It's like the best thing in the world you can do is go get that shower. So went and took that shower on the way back. But yeah, the lounges is great. I mean, but yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I like to book the flight separate. I like to know that the itinerary all works, right? So it's sort of it's not just me. I have to sign off from my wife as well, make sure that the time and what have you.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so as much as I would have loved to snag another extra day, I've been to Oslo before, and Oslo's great. I would have loved to tag on extra day to make it a
Mhm.
little bit more relaxed. It was a bit frantic coming back, and I was not in the best of shape on the
Yes.
way back
Correct.
on the way back. So it would have been nice to just have a kind of a slow day, eat some food, go to the Munch Museum, see the Oslo, Opera House or whatever. There's some cool stuff there. But it was a bit of a helicopter in and out. But it started slow and then it ended kind of frantic on the way back. I would say it was just kind of ease into it, and then back was like, let's get back.
Okay. I want to talk about the back part too. That like, were you you were bookended by work, right? Like you had to be back for like work things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
and
I'm in the same situation, so this gonna be a fun ride back too.
yeah, it's and yeah, I won't spoil it then. If we're gonna get to it, I
We'll
won't
get to
spoil
it.
it. I will just say that you're gonna want to know that like when I was supposed to get in and when I actually got in.
Oh, yes, I love it. Okay, good. Good. Okay, so you flew into Oslo, right? And then
Yes,
how did
yeah.
you get from like this? I looked at trying to make this trip to Noobfest, but how did you get from Oslo to Arvika? Because like there's a distance in between there. Were you able to rent a car or did you
Yeah,
catch
so I
up with
just
other people?
yeah, we just rented a car because our flight back was so early on Sunday. We didn't
Uh-huh.
want to put anyone out, and we couldn't
Got
get
it.
the train. So there's a train, but we couldn't get the train because it was too early. And from what everyone had told us was the only thing that gets the risk on the train was if there was a certain amount of snow, they could cancel the trains. Um,
Interesting. Okay.
and they often cancel the trains anyway. So we just rented a car, and it was supposed to be Will, myself, and Mano.
Sure.
Mano dropped out last minute because he wanted to go to a wedding instead. But actually, kind of exciting for me. One of my friends, he actually lives in Copenhagen. It's a
Hmm.
Danish guy, Ebbe, who I've known through Magic for like 20 years. I had told him, "Hey, I'm going to this tournament." He was like, "All right, I'm coming. I'm gonna fly into Copenhagen. I'm gonna drive with you guys."
Nice.
So so we scheduled that. Was great. I haven't seen him since before the pandemic. So it's been what 3.5 years or whatever since I've seen him. But
Hmm.
we met 20 plus years ago, and we used to play even when we were in different countries and different places. We would play like on Magic Workstation. We'd play Vintage, or we just play random formats like against each other. I remember we'd play on Magic Workstation, and then we'd do like a Skype call so that we could like talk to each
Like
other.
actually talk to each other. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean this way before webcam magic. This is, going 16 years ago.
Back when you had to
Kind of
work for it. No, just ordering a webcam online.
yeah. So I was super excited about that just because, he's been kind of a long time friend. So we got into Oslo, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna get the Oslo duty free. If you're ever there, it's a fantastic duty free place
Okay.
because everything costs so much in Norway. Everyone like hits the duty free really hard. So I had picked up. My like goal was to pick up some Havana Club 7 since I can't buy it in the States
Okay.
because the US is
Right.
weird. So no comment. Havana Club 7, and then we saw Ebba, and yeah, we just went to rent a car again, credit card status. So I'm president status or whatever it hurts.
Nice.
So we just go, and like there's a family waiting in line, and the guy's like, oh no, these people, I got to get these people in their car, and I'm sort of like kind of feel bad because I've been there when I have the family with kids and stuff. We could have waited a little bit, but yeah, so we got our free upgrade
Nice.
and got us on our way. Yeah, so we got, hybrid car, and it's, a couple hour drive. And
And you have
we
to cross a border too, right? Was that a pain in the ass, or is it like a pretty common thing for people to
No,
do?
there's like no borders in Europe. It's like not a thing. It's so like even though
Oh,
even technically, so there's a border, but it's like the truck weigh stations in the
yeah,
US.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like that. Like they're open sometimes, but they're usually not. Right.
Got it. Okay, all right. It's like
So
Canada used to be, like pre 9/11.
yes, yes, yes. So, and I mean, technically, Norway is not in the EU, right? So
Oh,
technically, it is a border. But we didn't stop, we didn't show passports, we just drove.
okay.
That's my experience. This is the second time I've ever driven from Norway into Sweden. The first time was actually not for Magic; it was to go canoeing.
Hell yeah.
But I've never been stopped, and that's the same of like basically any European country. I've never been stopped. I'm sure that there's weird occurrences that could happen, and there's probably some places, but I've never had it happen. You just drive across the border.
Nice. Okay, that's pretty.
See-
I was like curious about that one.
Yeah, so and it was a beautiful drive. It was really good. It was I I didn't sleep that much on the flight, but I high rolled the extra leg room, exit row,
Yes.
on my cheap flight, which was nice. So high rolled the exit row. So I got like about as good of a sleep as you can get on a full flight. The flight was completely full.
Ugh.
But Will had sat next to a guy, so we didn't sit next to each other. I was like, no, I like to high roll, and like honestly, I just want to like try and sleep. And I'm like kind of miserable, right? You're kind of miserable on the plane. You're just trying to get as much rest as possible.
It's
Um,
everybody's worst version of themselves is them on a plane, basically.
yeah, I had this like neck pillow that my wife had gotten, and like it didn't help. But
It's not
anyway,
good. Yeah.
he had gotten a recommendation of a restaurant on the way, basically just like a diner type
Hmm.
place. So we stopped and we had like a big breakfast, which again very badly needed after terrible plane food for 9 hours. And then we stopped at a fort as well. I have no idea what it was called, but some Norwegian. I think it was just on the Norwegian side. We stopped at this fort, hiked up to this fort. Everything's covered. Everything's blanketed in snow. I should add, where
Nice.
it's basically freezing, so 0 degrees C, give or take a couple degrees, up and down depending on where we were on the drive. There's kids sledding down the hill. It was just, I mean, just beautiful, and it was a really nice drive. Right, I got to catch up with Ebbe. Will got to meet Ebbe, talk about Magic, everything. Just kind of enjoy the scenery for a couple hours, and there was no rush. Right, we slowly made it to the restaurant. We ate some food. We slowly made it to the fort. We hiked around for a bit, got back in the car. So whatever, the 2 hour drive probably took us 3.5 hours or something. But like this is Friday, there was nothing planned for Friday, right? So we
Hmm.
just kind of eased our way in all the way to Arvika, which was great.
Okay, so I saw the picture posted of what you brought with you
Yeah.
to my only question. I get the jacket, the bag, all of this makes sense. Why two bags? Why a backpack and I'll call it like a set, like not a saddlebag, but like a European man's carry-all.
Yeah,
Uh,
the side bag is really just for Magic stuff. It's just
okay,
it was only so it was folded up flat in my bag for traveling, and then at the event, it was what I put my Magic cards in. So it has all the Magic patches and stuff on it. It's
right,
purely
yeah, yeah.
just for at the event, because I was playing anti, so I wanted my anti deck, and I need my anti like extra cards,
Okay,
and
that's what I was going to ask you was how many you brought. I knew you brought an anti deck, and I obviously know you brought a main event deck. But did you? Is that all you brought, and just like a bunch of stickers and stuff?
a bunch of stickers and stuff, and then I had another. What is my other? I feel like I brought 7 point Singleton deck.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, so those are the 3 decks I bought. I brought 3 decks, yeah, playmat, a bunch of stickers and stuff, and then a binder full of trade cards, because I had, like, a quasi trade lined up, which
Okay,
I'll
all right.
mention because it actually
Nice
went
little
down.
arbitrage. Nice.
I needed it for my deck to kind of slowly upgrade my deck, so I got that done. That was Friday night, so I could just mention it, I guess. Well, so Friday night, so we get in and we have plenty time. I would say we probably punted on not stopping somewhere to go get like extra snacks and stuff. If there is one, I have zero complaints on the weekend. If there is one complaint, it's Arvika is a tiny town, like
R-
15,000 people, tiny,
Yes.
and so like it was not easy to get like snacks and stuff.
And I'm
and we
assuming it
sh-
like shuts down like at darkness. They're like,
yeah,
this is
so
it.
like Friday night we went to a pub,
Okay.
and we were there probably, I don't know, till midnight or 1 or something, I don't know. And then the hotel was great. The venue was great. They like
Nice.
we thought like Friday night we just kept drinking in the lobby. Like the group got smaller and smaller till it was like me, Reindeer, Mari, one of their friends whose name I forget, and Drew Tucker. So we
Okay.
shut it down. The five of us like shut it down, and that was at like 4 a.m. And they never kicked us. They never kicked us out. We did finish a bottle of Kraken though. Um,
Ugh.
yeah, well, so my Havana Club 7 was in the room, so I was like, well, we're drinking this, I guess. But anyway, so we closed it up, but that was like 4 in the morning. Um, so yeah, and they never kicked us out. They were, I mean, they were just, it was a fantastic, the hotel venue, the guys that did all the setup, the tournament, everything. But I think we punted, not stopping to get some extra snacks. I brought some snacks, but they were like plain snacks, right? Some
You
mango
wanted like some
nuts.
like weird European snacks.
Well, yeah, I mean, I just wanted some, because the food was kind of like what we ate at the hotel. That was
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah. Yeah.
it. So there wasn't a whole lot else. I just needed, and if you're drinking all day, like I want snacks,
Yeah. You need
quite
some salt.
frankly.
You need some salt to add to that alcohol.
Exactly. And even some chocolate and wafers at
Sure.
some point. That's fine. But like, and we didn't. We really punt. Because I even asked. I was like, "Hey, should we stop?" And it was like, "Nah, I don't think we need to." So we didn't. And then I really paid for that Sunday. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I when you messaged me, which we can get, I guess we can get to that on Sunday, but like I was like, yeah, like it. I feel like now that I know I'm a little bit younger than you, but I feel like at this age, like it's like multiple day hangovers, and it just like you got to dry yourself out, and you need some like real food to do that.
Yeah, and they had set up again, like Friday, so we went out to the pub and we got like a burger, and it was just fine. We had burger and some beers.
Yeah,
Kind of got to meet, catch up with all the usual suspects, right? All of the people that had flown internationally, the other folk from the States, and then just, after you've been to a couple of these, right, you'll do it at Noob Fest, right? You have Danny and all these guys that have traveled. I think Shane is going to Noob Fest, if I remember as well.
I believe so, but I'm not. Don't
Yeah.
quote me. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, it's kind of just like becomes like kind of a group of like the traveling people, right? And it's kind of
Hmm.
fun when you get to the events. And so once you know all those people who often hit events, there's kind of a camaraderie of that sort of subgroup within old school, right? Of like, hey, we traveled for this. We're going to make the best of it. We're going to have a great time. We're going to meet all the new people that we don't know and local people. But there's also like a fun thing in meeting the people that you maybe even already know, but you just see them at different events.
Right.
So that was kind of, Friday. And then, I played some 7 Point Singleton against Ireland. Um,
Are they
and I
big
played
into that format?
so I think the Gothenburg crew, or at least Ireland and Fluffy, have
Hmm.
started playing some of the weirder formats, and they've even started messing with the rule set of like Swedish and other old school just to like mix it up some.
Hmm.
I really like 7 Point Singleton. It's my preferred drinking format. Or
Okay.
if we have a casual meetup locally in Houston, I will tell people to bring 7 Point Singleton. And I have like 6 or 7 decks made for me, and I have like 4 or 5 other decks that I'll just bring and like give to people.
Right.
It's really good for making sure that everyone's kind of on the same level of casual
Yep.
by the nature of it. And also it's good, like if somebody's has, let's say they have bring a Swedish or Atlantic or a 4 strip deck that's really casual, I can always just pull out a 7 point to play against it if I know that they have a really casual deck, kind of to even the playing field a bit. Because
Hmm.
we're just hanging out and having some beers. I don't need to be, 4 strip vicing them or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, let me play 2 pieces of power plus 1 dib. Go ahead. Your
Yeah,
turn.
so 7 point is really good for that. So I mean, I really like, and also like you get to use all those cards that are in your collection that you might have that you don't use.
Yeah, it's a
You know
deeper field because you singleton, right? So
exactly. So I like that. I mean, there is variance, but it plays like a powerful sealed format is how I would describe it. So like combat tricks are still a thing. You have to play around cards just like you would in sort of sealed, kind of like the tricks that they may have, because there's more tricks than just like they have bolt or counterspell, right? It's kind of regular old school. It's like it's limited the cards that they could or would have. Whereas in they could have Death Ward or
Yeah.
whatever, just random.
Sandstorm, something crazy. Yeah.
Exactly. They have to go a bit deeper, so they're gonna have more weird stuff. So I like it, but we jammed some games of that. Actually, because Fluffy had said I never got to jam, so a little bit sad at Fluffy since in my valuable backpack space, I brought 7 Point Singleton and didn't even get to play the person that I wanted to play. And my bag was chock a block. Let me tell you. I mean, it was.
I believe it based on what I saw. I'm gonna put the picture in like the podcast description, but I was like, because I'm using you as my guy. Like I've done backpacking in Europe, but I feel like
Yes,
you have thought about it more than I have. Um,
it's
so
pretty
I'm gonna
tight. I
use
mean,
yours as a guide. So
it was tight. I mean, the only thing I would say is, I rolled the dice on knowing it was freezing and I was taking my leather jacket anyway. I just
yeah,
didn't care. Um, if that was a more reasonable jacket, you'd probably be in a better spot. But the leather jacket, I bought that leather jacket at the last Eternal weekend.
nice.
Uh, was that 2019? Yeah, 2019. And I basically worn it to every Magic event since that I've been to that it's like remotely chilly. So as long as it's not like a summertime event or Houston event.
Yeah, yeah. He's like, you're probably just. Did you stop wearing shorts in Houston this winter? I feel like probably not. Like I wouldn't.
I do wear shorts a lot. I mean, I have like light trousers, right? So like
Yeah,
light
yeah,
cotton trousers. But yeah, I wear shorts a lot. I mean, it does get cool where you do want a jacket on, but you have those days, right, where it starts cool and you kind of want a jacket in the morning, but by midday you could be
you're
back in
sweating.
shorts and
Yeah,
t-shirt.
exactly.
So I mean, I'm kind of probably the British in me. I'm like obsessed with the weather, right? It's uh, just a symptom of being from the
It's just
UK.
a thing.
But
It's just a
but
thing.
so
Yeah,
every morning I wake up and I check the weather to know what to put the fucking kids in for school because you have those days where usually it starts cool and it warms up. So it's like, hey, you're fine in shorts and a polo shirt, and I'll give you like a sweatshirt, and like you won't need it by the time I pick you up. But occasionally it's those days where it's like you wake up and it's already 80 degrees outside,
yes.
and I go to pick them up and it's like freezing, and you're like, what the hell?
Oh my god. I'd be like, "You're good, right?" I would just like look at him and be like, "You're good. Get out there." You got to make like the 15-minute sprint to the door. But anyhow, the after this podcast, I can talk you through some travel jackets that can fit that purpose.
No, I don't want I
You
have the
don't?
travel
All right.
jacket. No, I don't
Okay.
no, I purposefully took this knowing that, if we plowed into a snowdrift on the way, I would probably die.
Okay. All
Um,
right. All right. You assume some risk. I like it. I like it.
it was not the best jacket for hiking. So I also had a big hooded sweatshirt, which is not in there that I wore. So I had a double layer and I took a cashmere scarf and a wool hat. So
Gotcha.
like I could layer up, but I was not really dressed appropriately for hiking around the fort, let me say.
Yeah. Not a
But
very warm thing.
again, and it's the cold is also not a huge deal, but it was also snowing, so it's like I wasn't wearing hiking boots, so I wasn't really going hiking in the snow anyway, right? Like this
Yeah.
was an expectation I set. I was like, I'm not going to go hiking in the snow. We're going to wear my magic jacket. I'm going to be inside playing nerdy games all weekend. I don't really need to be dressed for the proper weather that's outside. It's 2023. We're going to be fine.
Yep. I feel it. Did you bring a movie or is that a book? That's a book, isn't it?
That's a book.
Okay.
Yeah, so
All right.
always bring a book. Last year I really started hitting hard back into reading. My reading list was 100 and something books long, and I was like, I'm only reading. Basically, I was reading about a book a month, so 12 books ish a year, and I was like, I'm never going to get through this list. Why do I keep adding books to this list? If I want to read these books, one, some of the books are not going to be relevant to me anymore. As
Right.
mentally, I
When
want
you
to read this
added
book.
them. Right. Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, if I want to read these, if I'm adding books, I need to get into these books and read them. And so last year I sort of doubled down on reading books. I think I read 43 books last year.
Jesus.
And so one of the good times is if you're traveling, either for work or pleasure, I usually kill a book. So if you're on a plane for 9 hours, you have a layover, like I can kill a book quite easily. So I didn't quite kill this book. I probably have about, I don't know, 100 pages left or so. I probably killed about three-quarters of it on the flight and layover. But yeah, I always take a book because you never know. Like we're traveling in foreign countries. Sometimes your phone doesn't work well. I don't like reading on my phone anyway. I like the tactile feeling of reading.
We're on the same
Um,
page on that. Yeah, I can't do the Kindle thing.
Kindle, that my wife reads on Kindle. I'm not a fan. I have a bookcase of all the books I keep all the books that I like that I would give to someone else to recommend, and I donate the other ones, and then I have another bookcase of books I haven't read yet.
Nice.
So I will buy the books. But yeah, I'm a big reader, so yeah, a book for me to read. Um, it's Robert Heinlein. Revolt in 2100 is the book. It's the same guy that wrote Starship Troopers.
Nice. Oh yeah, I bet you that's an interesting read.
It's an
No,
interesting
no
read. I don't
comment
know
on
if you've
that.
ever
Yeah.
read that book. Yeah, if you've ever read that book, it's very different from the movie. So I will.
Yeah,
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah.
That
He's great. He's
ooh,
great. I've read a few of his books, so it's enjoyable so far. Like I said, I got about 100 pages left.
nice, dude. Uh, let's just talk through Saturday. I th- your deck is I mean, so it's how to describe this? It's normally I'd say it's what you quote unquote normally play, but
Yes.
did you I had one question and I'll let you just talk through your entire deck. Is that Earthquake in the sideboard for mono green?
Yes.
Okay, all right. The rest I'll let you talk through because I know you know the rest of this better than me. So
Yeah, and I mean, I think people can go look it up. I posted the list.
yeah,
I
it'll be
have
on
a
this thing too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically the list I won the Summer Derby with that was Swedish last year. There is one change from the main, which is I changed the Swords to Plowshares to a Divine Offering, which
Hmm.
was 100% wrong.
Okay.
The sideboard I did like. The sideboard was slightly tweaked from what I played last year. You're right. I have the Earthquake and a Control Magic that I didn't have last year.
Oh,
Those
okay.
are the
Okay.
main changes. And I had 4 Suchis last year. I'm down to 3 because of the Control Magic, and I really like the Sarah. So just hard to fit everything.
Right.
Um, Basically, I mean, so nothing new here, and I really don't need to get into it. But like the exciting things for me was I've been slowly upgrading some of the cards. So
Tell me about it.
yeah, so like the miscut counterspell was new. I'd never played it before, so I was super
Nice.
excited
Okay.
about that. So it's miscut unlimited. And then this year I had upgraded the Wheel of Fortune
Okay.
to beta. I upgraded one of the Sarahs to alpha. Um, I upgraded the Soul Ring for unlimited to beta, and that Friday night I upgraded that balance from unlimited to beta.
Sick.
So that was the trade. That was the trade I did Friday night, which was great. Which I was super pumped for that. So I actually kind of wanted to play mono green in the event.
Right. Were you trying
Um,
to get that Legends pack?
no, I don't know that I would have gone unpowered. I
Okay.
just sometimes. So when I went to NoobCon last year, I have 2 Swedish decks basically. I have mono green or the green black splash, and this deck built. So whatever, 2.5, 3 Swedish decks, and I could probably. Yeah, I need to buy 4 tomes, and I could actually play the deck, I think I'm 4 tomes away from that because this deck is not it's like the deck, but it has burn instead of lines,
Right.
basically.
Right. Right.
Um, so, like, I'm sort of locked in to playing one of those decks in any Swedish event, so spoiler alert, I guess, if you ever play against me in a
Right.
Swedish printing, right? So, obviously, if it's Swedish, not Swedish reprints, then, whatever, I could play anything, but when we're talking about, Swedish, reprint policy, it's kind of locked in. But yeah, I like this deck. I like the play patterns. I like aggressive decks. Has a little bit of everything. I'm not. I don't really want to play the deck. I knew that some of the best players will be playing the deck.
Hmm.
This deck has a good like a reasonable matchup against those decks.
Oh yeah. I figured that's what I figured it was you had like it's like blue red counterburn, right? Like you have game against the deck.
Yeah,
Uh
blue red kind of burn. Yeah, I mean that might be slightly better depending on how you feel about Blood Moon in that matchup. And there's different ways to build it, but all these decks are good. I mean, all of the I think having burn spells and counter spells
yeah.
and
Yeah. Yeah.
aggressive creatures is a good place to be against the deck.
Yeah,
So
that's what I was trying to get to, I guess, was like it's if you can get underneath them, you can eke out those games where they can't stabilize in time.
exactly, and they just there's so much burn. They only have 5 counter spells, right? 4 counter spells and mana
Yeah.
drain, plus maybe 1 or 2 recalls to get some back. You've usually lost if they get to that position where they can get back counterspell. So you basically want to kill them before they get to the position where they either get book online or they can recall back counterspells to kind of lock you out. Those games are pretty good. Or occasionally they'll Serra you to death.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was just I had to choose something, right? I didn't think too much about it, honestly. And I didn't do my due diligence on sideboarding, quite frankly, either. Which I usually make like a little sideboard guide, just a shortcut, just because again, slightly less mental strain on the day. And when you're up till 4 a.m. drinking with Drew Tucker,
Yeah.
and you start playing, you really want as few decisions as possible.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so yeah, but
The
Deck was good.
the do you remember like generally what you played against? Did you keep notes on it, or were you just trying to like how much? I don't know. I guess like who did you like? What did you see in the room as far as playing against?
Yeah, so so I went 5-2. I can tell you my two losses, right? Because those are etched into my mind much more than anything else. But
Yes.
I played against old tier one decks, basically.
Okay.
Which is not true of everyone who did well. So there was definitely a split in the room, just depending on where you kind of got into, what sort of bracket maybe you got into, a little bit of luck. Because I remember speaking to someone who was like, they were XO or X1, and they're like, I played against like White Weenie, I played against like Mono Blue, I played against Mono Red, and this person was 4-1 or 5-0 at the time.
Ooh.
So, and meanwhile, I played against, Trolls, The Deck, Mirror Match, Kale Robots. I played against all the tier one decks, basically. So I lost to the deck and I lost to Sedge Troll, Disco Troll deck that was built a bit differently. Both my losses were in 3 games. So one of the if I win one of those, then I'm X1 instead of X2, which puts me in top 8. Instead, I'm in probably top 16. There was I'll mention that it wasn't the organizer's fault, but Teleria shit the bed.
Yeah, I was watching you guys from the house
It
because I get up
Yeah,
early as fuck. So yeah, I was like not there, but I was basically there whenever it crashed, and I was like, good time to go to the gym.
it
Uh,
was it was
yeah,
it was rough. Yeah. I mean, props to everyone that they manually had to go back and they had the results, but I don't know what happened. Teleria,
yeah. Who
burped them
knows?
out. But they had them physically, so they had to go put them back in. So, I don't know everybody that would help that. I know Stebo for Brothers of Fire. I know he was one of the people that helped. They went and put all those results in to make sure that we could get going again. So, big props to all those guys for helping out.
Yeah, that's clutch. I knew it was like there was an issue, and they're like, we'll be back, and like they're just updating us through text. I was like, oh boy. Yeah.
It
So
was
I mean
yeah,
that
it
shit
was
happens.
Yeah, it happens, and the rest of the day went smoothly. They're pretty much on time. Rounds were good. They had dinner set up for us, so we didn't. So they needed to because we didn't have anywhere to go.
And it wasn't
Probably
soup, was it?
there was no soup.
Ah,
It
okay.
was meat, potatoes, and salad. But it's Sweden, so the salad had inexplicably had fucking pineapple on it because I don't know.
Sure. Sure.
They're obsessed with putting pineapple on everything. It's the weirdest thing.
Some scalloped
Um,
potato, some like lingonberry sauce, some just meat, probably like reindeer.
It's just random meat. Yeah, there was like
Normal
2
stuff.
different Yeah, I mean, and it was fine, but like, we ate that at 7, let's say.
Sure.
And I've been drinking since noon.
Right.
And I kept drinking till like 3. So like I needed more food. Just
Yeah. You just need something to absorb. You're like, I need like volume
you
to
know,
absorb what's
and it
going
was
on
and
here.
it was not pineapple salad. Let me tell you that. That was not what I needed. But yeah, the food was good. I mean, again, the guys that I think it was David Ardberg was one of the guys that did, and Marcus was I can't even remember his last Kungsberg or something. Those guys, I think they did a lot of the organizing, hotel, venue, organizing, setup. Drew Tucker, the AS Altars guy, all
Hmm.
that stuff was immaculate. The badge that we got that had like a giant shark that says Arvika Festival,
Nice.
all that stuff was done just perfect.
It sounds like
Yeah,
they put like a lot of attention to detail. Like I would never have thought to put badges on people. You know what I mean?
yeah. Oh, so but I mean like pins, like
Oh, pins. Okay, okay, okay.
yeah, yeah, pins, like pins to give everyone. It was really they really like they really nailed it. They really did. And the stream setup I think was very good. Everything was really well organized. So you know they really so we're in a hotel and we're kind of in the we're on the second floor where they had like conference rooms. There's two conference rooms and a bar. So we're kind of like out of the
Nice. Okay.
lobby. So like you didn't just have like kind of the muggles walking
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and it was like it was relatively well soundproof because if I went down to the lobby, you know, or went to go take a breath of fresh air from outside, you couldn't really hear us, and we were like loud, you know. So it was really well, just like the location, everything was in a really good spot.
Nice. Did you stick around for top eight or did you go do other things? I'm
No,
assuming
so
most people stuck around.
yeah, I mean, again, all the usual suspects, right? Everyone who travels is there, but
Right.
you know, some of the guys I presume went back to you know wherever they lived in Arvika.
Right. Right. The locals who
Or
were like, I'm just gonna go home. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly, or you know, so there was I don't know, maybe there's like 120-ish people there for the tournament. I think 124, something like that ish.
That's a lot. Yeah.
And then probably for top eight at the beginning, there was probably maybe 40-ish people around, and then it slowly trickled down to maybe 25 or so, let's say.
Gotcha.
But no, so I was there the whole time. I One of my things this year was that I wanted to actually do more commentary. I did a lot of commentary on the Winter Derby with Ireland. Was
Oh yeah.
nice enough to do that. I wanted because I've been doing that. What I actually wanted to spend a lot of time watching the matches that would not be on stream.
Hmm.
So I actually tried to bird the matches that were not on stream, just because I could go back, and I haven't yet. I haven't gone back and watched any of the matches on stream yet. But yeah, I watched the matches. I actually was doing some of the brackets for top eight, just to kind of keep the matches moving along,
Hmm.
and like kind of stood in between the three matches that were going on that were not on stream, trying to watch all three matches at once, which was great because the matches in top eight were fantastic. Some
Nice.
really
Okay.
really fun matches, and then I got dragged into anti 40K.
Yes, so that was like going to be like in between like end of the tournament and then traveling back. I wanted to talk about the Annie 40K. I already know Dave was there and what he was playing.
Yes.
What did so just quickly for everybody, the two people listening, Dave brought a Demons deck. I will ask him if I can put a photo out for people to look at. But maybe don't expect it. But Demons is all you really need to know. Uh, are you okay sharing what you brought? I feel like it's like secret. It's like back to
Yeah,
'94, like secret tech type stuff. So I don't always
yeah,
want to like.
I don't, I'm fine. I'll give I think like saying demons, and I'll say that I was like, 3 color white aggro. I don't
Sure.
think
Okay.
you wanna give deckless,
Right.
because so, like, I'm trying to figure out if I can, like, justify building another deck, right? Because like, that's where we're at in the format. If you only have 1 deck, then you can kinda get pre-sideboarded against.
Yeah. 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 Exactly.
And you are technically playing for, yeah, it's not really playing for money, but it sort of is. Yeah, close enough. And then,
Yeah.
you know, it's tough to build one deck. I wanted to build a deck, and I wanted to play to see how I felt about the format. Um, so when's my first? So actually, Friday night I played my first game against Dave. So that was my
Okay.
first ever game of anti 40K was against DFB. I won that one. I won a bird.
Good pick.
So kind of nothing to write home about. Kind of felt sort of neutral on the format, if
Okay.
I'm honest. No big highs or low lows. I think that's the nature of birds to some degree. They do
Yes.
remove a lot of the risk from the format. Um, Saturday night, so I'm feeling in a pretty good spot already, from just drinking all day and not eating pineapple salad.
Right. Yeah.
Bonnie Mirbaka was like, "You want to play anti?" So I'm like watching and doing the top eight, and I'm like, "Yes, like let's do it." Like I've been watching now for a couple hours. Like I'm ready to play some Magic again. So we play a match for I win his bird, and he's like, "Let's play again. Let's restrict birds." Okay, so
Yes. The
side
natural
out bird.
evolution.
Yeah, so we side out. So I was only running 3 birds in my deck anyway. So I side out 2 birds. There's a whole thing with birds, right? Because there's birds versus Sydney in a bottle
Yep.
versus just nothing. So there's kind of 3. That's sort of the triangle is birds, Sydney in a bottle, or like neither of those. But so I sideboard out 2. We play again. Um, it starts to get a little bit fuzzy, honestly, for me. But I win. I win. Oh no! So this is Matt. I win a City of Brass.
Ooh, nice. Good pick.
Arabian Nights, of course, City of
Yeah.
Brass. And he's like, again, no buds.
Wow.
And I was like, I mean, okay. Like, I mean,
Fuck it.
the worst thing you can do is win something of the same value back, right? Because I'm maxed out
Yeah.
at dual. Like the most expensive thing in my deck is also city. I have a city and dual lands.
Right.
So it's like, yes, that's only fair because like if you win something back, then that's fine.
Then we're good. Yeah.
So like I'm kind of free rolling a little bit, and also like I'm having fun and I'm pretty sloshed. So I'm we're on to the NoobCon. Have you seen the pop-up shot glasses that MG made?
No.
So he got these. They say NoobCon on them. It's like a silver shot glass that like is collapsible, and you can
Okay.
pop it up into a little shot glass.
Okay.
So we're supposed to not have any not outside alcohol or drinks. So
Sure.
I don't know who brought the bottle of Havana Club 7, but anyway, um, there was Newcon shot glasses were out and shots were being had. And so we play again. I lost the next one, I think, and lost the planes,
Yeah. So like
a
few bucks, few
basic,
bucks. Yeah.
which I then threw at Drew Tucker and was like, I need you to. I like wrote on it and I was like, I need you to alter this for me. So one of my I am a terrible artist and just not particularly artistic. And that
Yep.
was actually kind of a downside of anti 40K for me is that like I don't feel like I can give something very good to somebody. Um, which is a little bit of a sad thing because that is part of the fun is being able to doodle and alter on the cards. I think that does add some fun. And I don't just mean drawing a dick. I mean, that's fine for some people, but
That's your basic out, right? Just put one
yeah,
on there.
It's kind of boring.
It's
I don't
been done.
know.
It's been done.
Yeah, it's been done, probably overdone, and it's fine. Not to take away from people that are still giggling about it. That's fine. Like go keep giggling,
Enjoy your fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to rain on anyone's parade. I'm kind of sad that I can't give something slightly better to people.
That's why
Um,
I'm a stamp guy. I'll make stamps because they're relatively cheap, but it doesn't require my artistic talent.
yeah, I mean, maybe I need to make like a stamp. I could make something like like people used to stamp their books, like this book belongs to,
Hmm. Yeah.
and be like this card belongs to Simon, and I can scratch it out and write whoever.
Yeah. I mean, like, and the best, like, even if you don't like that stamp, you can always like they're extremely cheap and you can
Yeah,
get them really fast. So like you're like, oh, just make another one. Fuck it.
I need to make more stamps anyway for local groups and meetups and events and stuff. Anyway, I need to be better about that. Um, yeah. Yeah, no, that means stamps I mean, again, it's another way to play Magic. I mean, I think most of us or anyone who's been doing this for a while now, everyone's kind of looking, not necessarily looking for the next thing, but like I know I enjoy a project.
Hmm.
So the anti 40K was kind of a project, right? Because I'm having to pick up basically HHP slash damaged, uh, unlimited cards to build this deck for 40,000 sec. So that was a project, and then you also kind of want backup cards, so you need to find
Yeah.
extra of the cards because I'm in the middle of Arvika and I lose a card. I need something to replace it. It doesn't need to be a perfect like for like replacement, but you need something that also has value. So you kind of have this like your backup sideboard, I guess, or whatever, in order to be able to just make sure that you can play the next game. I liked it. It was fun. And we just kept playing. We got more and more trash, and we eventually made it back to like Bonnie's room, which was like across the hall from where Will and I were staying, and we were just like jamming games on Bonnie's bed, like just playing.
Nice.
So yeah, it got and that's at 3 or 4 in the morning. Yeah, we just jammed games till I decided to jump out the window and throw a snowball at Bonnie because he was falling asleep. So
and the sun had come back up again. Yeah. Yeah. So my guess is you probably had like 4 hours of sleep at this. Well, no, we'll call it a solid 6 hours of sleep over the last 48. So doing pretty good.
Yeah, I did no sleep Saturday night
Ooh, yeah.
because
Huh?
we left at like 5:30
Oh, for the drive back.
for the drive back. Yeah, because our flight, it might have been 6 that we left, and it was, 2.5 hour drive, and I think our flight was at 10 or 9:30, something like that.
Yeah.
So we wanted to be there 8-ish because we had to return the rental car, blah, blah, blah. And the roads are icy, right? So, like, I didn't mention this, but on the road I mean, like, the roads are icy, like, cars skidding on the ice,
Hmm.
icy in spots. So, like, you just wanna, like, take it slow, right? Kind of, you can't be just max speed.
Yeah. You can't do 80. You can't do 80. You're doing
Exactly.
a conservative 50.
Exactly. So yeah, and the roads are nice, right? Scandinavia, it's like the roads were not, but like we definitely hit a little patch of ice. I drove the way there and I hit a patch of ice. And everyone in the cars, butts puckered up as we
Yeah.
were
I
skiing along.
I get it. Yeah.
So it was without any, there's no story to it. It was just we hit it, and I did what you're supposed to do is is not freak out. And we were back going straight in a straight line, a couple seconds later. So no big deal, no harm, no foul. But yeah, it was. So anyway, yeah, I mean, I got done with Bonnie, and then like I had to pack. Which miraculously I think as far as I know, I got everything in my bag.
That is my
Um,
biggest fear is like leaving something behind where I know if I leave it, I can't turn around and go get it. Like
Yeah,
it's
but
just
there's a
gone.
million people, right? So if you're in Gothenburg and you live something in Gothenburg, somebody that lives there can get it for you.
Sure.
And like you might be without it. You probably don't want to pay for postage depending on what it is. So you might be without it till like the next
Yeah,
global
for
event
like a
with some.
year. Yeah.
Well, you don't have to go back there, but presumably they can give it. Right now we can. The amount of I muled stuff for Stebo. I took a Netrunner T-shirt for him and a
Oh,
bunch of
nice.
some miscut magic cards for him. DFB was muling stuff for people. Everybody was like taking magic cards or stickers or swag, or everybody was taking stuff for everyone. So it's not that difficult now. If you did leave, I don't know, a glasses case, you could get it probably in 3 or 4 months. Somebody's coming to LobsterCon, for example.
Sure. Oh, yeah, that's a good
Right,
point. Yeah, yeah.
and then, like, somebody from Seattle is going to LobsterCon, so, maybe you're not there, but, somebody brings it from Sweden, somebody from Seattle can bring it back to Seattle or whatever. So, like, we're all kind of it's a small, tight-knit kinda community now, so I think getting stuff shuffled around the world is kinda easy, right? If you buy cards, you could buy cards in Europe and just not get them shipped to you, right? You just get them shipped to somebody locally.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've been part of that maneuver to
Yes.
like yeah, yeah, without giving all the secrets away, but yes, to get all that stuff in and out. Tell me about the debacle. So you miraculously don't sleep, get packed, and I'm assuming on the road at this point. But
Yeah,
like,
so the
how bad
smart
was
play
it?
yeah, so the smart play was when we were getting the car at Oslo, he was like, "Do you wanna add an extra driver?" And I was like, "Yes."
Yes, because it's not going to be you. Yeah.
Because I was like, "Will, you're driving back Sunday." And he was like, "Yeah, yeah, okay," because Will doesn't really drink.
Sure.
So it was, and then Ebbe was, because the flight was so early, he was driving back with some other Danes. So he would, because his flight wasn't until like 3 o'clock in the afternoon or something.
Sure.
So he wasn't coming back. So it was just Will and I. So I was like, "You're driving on the way back," and he's like, "Yeah, fine." So I drove all the way. I did the overnight and I did the first ride, but Will drove us back. So Will had, I don't know, after the top eight, he had helped Bonnie. So like Bonnie was not in a good state getting to his room.
Fair.
So he had helped that. And then yeah, I got, so Will was, showered, packed, changed, ready to go, and I sort of stumble in. He's like, "Holy shit! Like, you smell like a brewery! Like, Jesus Christ!" But yeah, I pack all my shit up and we make it to the car, and yeah, I don't feel good driving. Driving in the car, no sleep. Uh, Havana Club 7, empty bottle, finished.
You
Not
got a
enough.
new one on the way back through, right?
I did bring one back. I was
Good,
too. I
good.
was. I didn't. I didn't because I also have to do a double flight right in the
Oh yeah.
U.S. So yeah, and with no check bag. So
Oh yeah, you didn't have where to stow it. Yeah.
yeah, so and my bag was just packed full of crap because I actually didn't get that much swag, but you know you always come back with more stuff
Yep. Hmm.
than you think. I mean that's my much to the chagrin of my wife. My like one of my traveling tips is like I always keep t-shirts, socks, and underwear that get holes in for traveling, and I just dump them. I travel in them and just throw them away
Oh, that's
so
pretty
that
smart. Okay.
I don't have to bring them home.
Yeah, and then you have more room
And
for
then,
all the
like,
shit you buy.
it has
Yeah.
a hole in it, so, like, I can't, like, donate it or do anything with it, like, I have to just throw it away anyway. But, yeah, so, like, I always have, like, a pile of, like, well, not a pile, but I always, like, keep some, like, extra for traveling, and I just, you know, I just dispose of them. So that is, like, something if you're one backpacking, that's, like, a nice sort of trick.
That's a
That and
pretty expert trick.
yeah, that and I also keep in my toiletries bag. You can buy like one use like Tide packs
Hmm.
or like washing packs. And if you have like I have these like wool t-shirts.
Yeah, yeah.
Um
Smart wool stuff.
exactly. They're like
Yeah, yeah.
smart wool. And I have wool socks too. And so you can just like wash them in the sink. So you can get like you know, a two wear out of them with only bringing one shirt and one pair of socks. You can get a double wear.
That's that's how I did Europe last year. Plus, here's some tips for people who don't do this, but like wool doesn't like you can
Yes.
sweat in it and it doesn't smell like sweating in a cotton t-shirt smells. It
Correct.
also
Especially if
doesn't
you
get as wet.
correct, and especially if you air it out, or you can just like you can
Yep.
just wash it in water even and dry it, you
Yeah,
know, and
like
especially if
literally
you're
just dunk it and go. You can be
exactly,
okay.
if you're I'm like quite sensitive to my own smell.
Okay.
Like I just don't want to smell bad, and so like I probably wash and clean stuff more than I probably should or need to. But yeah, it is really nice to be able to do that with the wool, and it is fantastic. Or if you like air it outside, like
Yeah,
you know, especially if you're somewhere cold, which is great.
and it lasts forever for the people I'm selling smart wool on. Like smart wool is it's not necessarily cheap, but it's not also very expensive for the wear you'll get out of it. Like I have my stuff from like 2015 still. I don't know.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, and especially if you're going somewhere cold, like you don't want cotton
Yeah,
anyway.
exactly.
You want the wool, so it is good. I mean, again, when you're one bag packing in wintertime, and that is this is a key. I don't know that anybody asked for those tips,
No,
but there you go.
but they're getting them. I don't even care. That's some good travel tips right there. But yeah. So were the flights just fucked up?
So flight back was on time, but we got like we low rolled the seats, right? The back seat that like
Uh,
doesn't move back.
oh yeah.
Yeah, Will and I were next to each other, so that was, like, fine at least, other than, like, I'm still, like, not feeling good. And, you know, Will wants to talk sideboards, and I'm just, like I'm sorta nodding. I'm, like, mentally processing it, but, like, physically, I'm not
You
there
can't deal with
physically.
it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I'm, like, having an outer body experience, and I'm, like uh, he was sideboarding for a specific deck for a specific event, which I won't go into because it hasn't happened yet.
Yep, all good.
But, like, I think I was giving some good input because it made it into the final list. So, like, my input was somewhat there. Like, so, like, there was part of me was there mentally, but yeah, physically, I was suffering. And I'm like, I'm in the aisle on the back seat, right? And the fucking flight attendant, she keeps having to get into this like thing behind me and smacking me
Yes.
in the head with this fucking door that opens. I got smacked in the head twice with this fucking door. And this like sassy, I don't know if she was Norwegian, Swedish, or Danish. Is SAS the flight? So I think they're Danish, but I don't know where the lady was from. I was like, that's the second time you've hit me with this, like, and it like it didn't hurt, right? But it was like I just
Yeah.
got fucking smacked in the head.
But getting smacked in the head by surprise, like sets off an unnecessary amount of violence in my mind. Like I'm just
Yeah,
like, are you
I
fucking with
wasn't
me?
like
Like,
yeah, I felt in too shabby shape to be, like, so angry, but I was just like, "Come on." I was just like, "Come on." Like, you had to know, and it wasn't like it happened, it was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Like, "Oh,
yeah,
sorry." And I was like, "This is the second time you've done this." And
right.
she, like, came and gave me some, like, nuts and a piece of chocolate, and I was like, "Jesus Christ." Like, that was, like, the most disingenuous sorry I've ever, like, experienced in my life. Like, she physically said sorry, and it was so disingenuous, it was, like, comical. Like, I said to Will, I was like, "That was, like, the most disingenuous sorry I've ever heard in my life." Like
Oh, I love it.
unbelievable. But yeah, so the flight back was a bit rough. But we made it, and then I was supposed to have a 5-hour layover in Newark, which I knew about.
Sure.
But it was just the way to, again, to do this, sometimes you have to get back for work and family and school or whatever your outer bounds are. Also price, right? So there actually wasn't a better flight back anyway, but like I would have taken this flight because this flight was like $100, right? So like
Nice. Okay.
my whole round trip was like $500 flights, right?
Max
Which,
value.
yeah, I mean, you can't really come back. So I went to the Capitol. I went to the lounge. So I went to the lounge. I ate, had a cup of tea. I took a shower, and fucking just slept. I just like slept in the lounge.
Yeah.
They had these like little like reading nook things. I just
Yeah, yeah. The
fucking
ones that are like off in the corner. Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I just got in the reading nook and I fucking just like slept for 3 hours. And then there was like maybe an hour and a half. So Newark Airport. I don't know if anyone. It is fucking stupid as shit. It's not as bad as LaGuardia. It's much nicer than LaGuardia. But the actual whoever designed the fucking airport is an idiot. Most airports, when you go through security, you can go from any terminal to terminal, right? And
Yeah,
get
yeah.
from
They're
any gate to.
interconnected. You have
They're
to. They
connected,
have to be.
but it's not at Newark.
Hmm.
So when you go through security, you go through security for the gates that you're going to.
Oh
So
no.
in order to get to the lounge was at a different set of gates than the gates that I needed to go to for my plane, which was fine because I have a 5-hour layover, so no big deal. It meant I had to stand in line twice, but like the line for 15 or 20 minutes to be able to go get the lounge is not a big deal.
Right.
But if I had a short connection, basically it would be untenable. But anyway, so I was like, well, I'll just leave early to go because like, I'm gonna have to go through security and I don't want it to be like a rush. So I go do that. So I'm there, maybe an hour before my flight, plenty time. Flight is the little sign saying it's on time, on time. We're supposed to like board at 7:15. It's 7:30. It's still saying on time. We're not boarding.
Yep. Red flag.
7:40, 8 p.m. We're supposed to be leaving. Still saying on time. We're not boarding. Everyone's starting to get like stood up, stood up. 8:15, 8:30. People are starting shouting at the people at the ticket desk. And there's, oh well, the plane is here, but there's a mechanical issue. Why didn't you say that at
Like,
7:15?
yeah, yeah. You could have avoided the whole situation, or like
And it just,
stymied it.
yeah.
Yeah.
So my only good play of this was about 9 p.m. They're like the plane should be here at 10:40. It's 9 p.m. So this is so now at this point I've been at Newark, right, for 7 or 8 hours. So it's 9 p.m. It's Sunday, so everything is closing, right? All the food, snack, all the stuff is closing. So I'm like, fuck, like I'm on my own. So I'm worried. I'm like sort of worried that like suddenly they'll be boarding at some point. But I'm
Yeah. You
like,
don't
I
want to
have
go
to go.
too far, but
Exactly, but I need to get something to eat, and so, like, I wander, like, up the terminal a little bit, and there's, like, a place, and there's, like, a lady ordering food, and I could hear, like, the lady in the back, like, screaming, like, "This is the last order, this is the last order." So I'm like, "I'll take the same thing exactly, just make it 2. Whatever that lady
yeah.
ordered, double it." And so, like, that was on my only good place. So I got chicken tenders and fries, so
Oh,
fine.
all right.
I
This
I
is
I whatever, like, and this is like 9:05 PM or whatever, and they close at 9. So I got some food at least. But we did not board the plane until 1 AM.
fucking solid.
I got back to Houston at 5 AM,
You, j-
5:30 AM.
and you just rolled straight to work. Just fucking shower and go.
I rolled into home and I logged into my computer, and then if anyone from work's listening, I worked all day. And if anyone else
Yeah.
listening, I went into the shower and may have taken a nap.
The- Hey, I can almost tell you per name who's listening to this podcast, and it is definitely nobody that you work with. That's a fact. Dude, I get it. Oh my god. I've only had that before I started doing what I'm doing now. I only had that once where like I got off a flight, I didn't even shower. I changed my top, and I sat down and like got to work. And I was still dipping at this point, so I threw in a fucking fat lip of
Yeah.
Copenhagen and was like, "Monster up, baby, here we go."
Your
But
your your work is a lot more physical than mine, so that's very impressive. Mine at least would just be sitting. I could zombie in front of the computer, pretend to be working. I've done that before. I remember going I think it was to Spain before my wife and I got married, before I had kids, to
Sure.
for and I like had no vacation, but I had free flights to Spain for because I won a PTQ, so it was to go
Nice.
to the Pro
Okay.
Tour, but I had to get back to work by Monday. And so like I just fucking but I'm like I was useless. I was a hollowed out shell on Monday morning, you know. I'm just sitting in front of a computer, but like I wasn't doing anything. I couldn't. I don't think mentally or physically I could have done anything. But like I was just there, you know, I was a puppet on a seat, basically. But yeah, I mean, the flight back was rough. If I had made it back, I would have been back by like 11:30 midnight, which would have been fine. And then I could have had
Yeah, like 4 or
a
5
proper night's
hours.
sleep
Yeah.
and go. Well, then I could have just gone to sleep at midnight and then woken up at 7 and
Sure.
like rolled straight into work and would have been probably okay. I'd have been a bit slow and sluggish, but I could just, I had planned to work from home anyway. I'm a hybrid work from home slash office.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. That's what Courtney
so
does too.
yeah, I usually only go into the office Tuesday, Thursday is my sort of schedule. Um,
Nice.
so so yeah, if you're ever scheduling online matches with me, it'll be Monday, Wednesday, or Friday.
Put me down. Courtney's got so she does Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday in the office, but she's home Monday, Friday, I
Yeah,
think.
which is good. So you get that sort of. I mean, it's as somebody who is an ambivert,
I don't even know what
the
that means. You're gonna have to define that because I don't think anybody knows what that means
okay,
besides you,
well,
Sam.
you know what introvert is, right?
Yes.
Someone the
Hmm.
sort of quiet, introverted, they kind of like their own space. They're maybe not very like they don't exude bubbliness, right? Introvert. Extrovert, somebody exudes bubbliness, very social, very social. Ambivert in the middle.
Okay. All right. You need a
So
little bit of both. Got it.
I need a bit of both. And so the way I would describe it is to an extrovert, they think I'm introverted. To an introvert, they think I'm extroverted.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense. Okay.
But so I like to be on my own, quiet, get some work done, and I don't mind being in the office, kind of, you know, doing the quote unquote office game, right? Office
Yes.
politics, talking at the wood cooler. I can do that, but I do not want to do that every day. It's draining, and I don't enjoy it. So having the flexibility to do both is actually very good for me, personality wise.
Yeah.
Um, I think something maybe that's slightly underappreciated by companies. You know, there are people that want to be in the office because they like that's where they get their energy from.
Hmm.
And there's people that don't want to be in the office because like it's draining to be in the office, having to deal with those people that want to talk to you every 5 seconds. Like, I don't want to talk to you. Like, I want to do my job and I want to go home and do my own fun stuff. I don't want to like sit here. You know, there's were people that would like be at work late because they just like spoke to everyone all day and didn't do their work. Like, and so they're like missing time with their family. It's like, what? Why? Like, I actually quite like my family. Like, I want to go home and spend time with them, or I want to go do my hobbies. You know,
And you think like, uh, hold on, we will have this conversation. I don't want to include this part in the podcast because I have an actual work question for you. But the what was your favorite moment from the weekend or the entire trip? I know it's a little bit longer than the weekend, but
oh man, that's tough. I mean, honestly, just getting to do all the social things, I think, right? So seeing the usual suspects, meeting up with Ebbe, you know, traveling with Will is always a pleasure. Watching him do really well in the tournament, and like seeing the you know all the Swedes and other Europeans that I don't get to see. You know, Ole and Aland and all these Esfanta. You know, these guys that sometimes I talk with some of them online. You know,
hmm.
it's just sometimes it's a face to a name, or sometimes it's just hanging out with someone that you talk to. You know, some of these people I talk to semi regularly, but I don't see them face to face.
Right,
Um,
right, right.
and that is just like amazing that we can have these social interactions, these friendships over a kid's card game that can create these like one, you know, a fun, almost bachelor party esque weekend,
Yep.
you know, of as much or as little debauchery as you like. And just kind of have a great weekend and then, you know, go back to your normal life. I mean, that's just great. You know, I think I don't have that group. I'll use Mano as an example, right? He has Team Sped, and I think a lot of people were very jealous of that. He still has that same group he's had for years at this point, right? That they can hang
Uh-huh.
out, they can meet, they can play Magic. I don't have that original group, right? Of those the people that I started playing with and those friends, they've all dispersed.
Yep.
I think that's true of most of us, right? And either we've dispersed, people have moved, to other states or countries or what have you. Maybe you have a few of those. Like it was great to see Ebe because I have that 20-year friendship, which is great. But like that's just one friendship, and I don't get to see him because he lives in Denmark. So to be able to have this kind of other sort of friend group of people that have a shared interest, but also are different, different jobs, live in different locations. We're very homogeneous in a lot of ways, as white, middle-aged,
Yeah, just white,
middle class
some man,
men.
some yeah, middle-aged man, just doing
White
some
middle class,
things.
we're
Yeah,
we're wasps
yeah, yeah.
generally of some varying degree, but there's still some diversity in the jobs that people have, and what have you, and just location and nationality as well. So that's kind of fun that you're very similar in lots of ways, but there's also some differences. I really enjoy seeing everyone. That's one of the pleasures of traveling. I like traveling anyway, but being able to sort of do something fun, magic, meet some new people, meet the old, whatever the old crew, whatever you want to call it, the
Sure.
usual suspects, and then just kind of have a good weekend. I was not upset that I did not make top eight. That is very talented. As someone who is kind of, I'm on the spiky end, but that is not my main driver.
Sure.
I'm very glad. I'm very happy for Will for doing well, and I was very happy with everyone that did well. Would I have liked to have done well? Sure, but it's not the end of the world. Whereas I think when you play a PTQ or play GPs or SCGs, there was a
Yeah.
motivation for me to do well because that was the only thing that mattered.
Yeah, that's what
Um,
you're there for. You're there to win, right? Like,
Exactly, and so, like, not winning or not even when you make a top 8, and you get knocked out, you kind of felt like you missed something, whereas I
yeah.
don't feel like that in old school. Like, I got to play old school. I got to play anti-40K. I got to play 7-point singleton. I didn't even mention it, but Reindeer has this other anti format that he has. So there's a Reindeer anti format, that
Uh,
he
ooh. I'll leave that for future.
yeah. I mean, he would be a great person. I don't know how much you've interacted, but that might be a fun interaction anyway, even if you haven't. He's a great guy.
I'm gonna
He
take a
has
recorder with me.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will be there, right? So, and yeah,
Yeah.
he has his reindeer ante. So there's lots of pickup games, trading, hanging out. I mean, I got to hang out with Drew Trucker till 4 in the morning.
Oh, dude, that dude,
He's amazing.
yeah, I have a piece of his artwork on my wall. I bought one of the test sketches for the painting he did for Sean's last Seattle event.
Yes.
Yeah, that
The
he
demonic
lives
Tuesday?
like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so he lives like south of me, like let's call it an hour. But that dude
Not
he's
anymore.
pretty fun.
'Cause
Yeah, he's
not
pretty
anymore.
fucking
He's
cool.
moving. Yeah, yeah, he's
Where's he
moving.
moving to? Oh,
He's
like
moving.
that's
Yeah,
fine.
he's moving to Maine. He's moving to Maine.
Okay.
Um, because well, we talked about this. We talked about this, but yeah, he's moving. He's going to be like very close to Stephen King's house.
Well, I mean, based on his artwork, that's probably a good fit.
Yeah, I mean, he's great. I also have an original art piece. I have an original art piece from him from The Duelist.
Oh, nice.
So,
Okay.
which is great. It's called Belly Dude, but it was, I think it's Duelist number 6. It's like, so they had like background art that they
Mhm.
would do, for like the pages, and he did some of that art.
Nice.
Um, yeah, so I have that up in my house, which is like I love that. I just couldn't afford to be. I'd love to buy a piece of original magic art. Like I kind of like to like dip my toe into the to stuff, and just like I just was too slow. Was too slow on that, and I honestly can't justify the price.
Oh, we're in
And
the same, yeah, yeah. Like, my budget, so like he gave me a good deal, but it was in my range.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think so. The great thing is like if you like his work, like it's you can commission stuff with him,
Oh
and
yeah,
he's
easy.
very
Yeah.
reasonable. I mean, it's like an artist price, not this like inflated magic art price. And so like, don't be dismayed. Like, you might have to save up or whatever, depending on what budget people are in, but like you can get stuff. You just have to kind of figure out another way. Like I have a piece, like I'd love a piece of Anson Maddox art. I couldn't afford it. So I have a sketch from him from an RPG
Yep.
that he did
He's
artwork for.
I saw him at the Vegas event. He had some stuff with him, but I was like trying to save the money to put the cards together for future. But he's got
Yeah.
some sketches too. Yeah, I agree. The sketches and like the test pieces, I think, is where I fit in well with like getting that artwork.
Yeah, I'm like art has to really speak to me as well. So like just because it's a magic card or powerful, like doesn't really do anything for me. Like I want the art to be up in my house, and like this is not a like, hey, Bonnie, my wife, like, I'm putting this art piece here. It's like, I love this piece. It's going
Yeah.
up. Like there's no like question about it. Like, and so like it's very much a feel for like, do I like this art? And like, do I have like a strong fit? Like I have to buy it. Like I have to buy it. So like, yeah, it's just finding something like, and there are a few pieces like that. The original Time Walk is like that for me. Like
Sure.
that piece is just like it's so atmospheric. I really like surrealist art, so it plays on that, which is also just like a style that I very much like. But yeah, I mean, art just kind of has to. Everyone has their own different stuff. I mean, I think some people like it because the card's nostalgic or the card's powerful and they want that thing. For me, it's purely about the art. Because like if I'm gonna pay that money, I want it in my house. I want to
I want to look
display
at it
it.
every day. Yeah.
I want to enjoy it exactly. So like I have Belly Do downstairs, kind of just outside the living room, and I see it, and I kind of get a smile. And it doesn't have to be magic. I have a couple. I bought a original piece a couple months ago now. That's nothing to do with magic, but every time I see it, I smile, and like that's a very powerful, effect. So I love that. Just having stuff, and it's great if it can be something that dips into your hobby. That's great. But he does. I mean, he's amazing. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
I mean the whole social thing, I think, was just amazing. Again, the whole weekend was very well organized and planned. Um, I had other than making top eight or winning, I couldn't have had a better time.
Nice. Okay. And you think it'll happen again next year? I would assume.
Yeah, I think they've been doing it. I don't know that they'll have a shark, right? So I
Yeah.
think
Yeah. Yeah.
one of the motivators for some of the international people was the shark, whether you're planning to get it or not. Like it kind of is a motivator to me, but it's also not the end of the world.
Right.
Like I'm not so motivated, but it's a nice kicker because it means that if you go to an event, like there is a possibility of win that, which will be pretty cool, right? There's no shark in the US, right? Nobody in the US
Nope.
has a shark. So that would be pretty cool for obvious reasons. I mean, it's the original thing. I mean, I did this. So I had a couple of discussions with MG as well, right? Which is another going to some of the events in Europe. You get to speak to MG, which is always amazing.
Hmm.
Um, so we talked about that because I would love it if MG would give the shark to tournament organizers that have done a great job. Like move it
Yep.
around a little bit. Like don't just keep it in one or two places. Like move it around. Like it is so much work to organize an event and to do an event
Yes.
well. Like those people should be commended. We're obviously we're not paying them. They're doing it. That's their time away from family or loved ones or what have you. Like the shark is like kind of just like a nod that like you're doing a good job. Like an MG could like give that. So like I would love to see that. I don't know if that will happen. MG seemed like amenable to potentially moving the shark a little bit. That might just mean in Europe or in Scandinavia. I have no idea what that means, but
Sure.
I think it did make me go. I don't know that I want to go to more events, different events. It's very difficult for me to justify going back. There's so few events I can go to in one calendar year. It's very hard to keep going back to the same events, even if
Yeah.
they're amazing, even if they are amazing.
You
Um,
when you told me that, because we were talking off cast about that, just in chat,
yeah,
and like that like put a bug in the, like, you basically like infected my brain. I was like, fuck, he's right. I was like, I should like maximize the different amount of events I can go to instead of the amount of events I can go to. It's like,
yes,
fuck, that was smart.
yeah. I mean, so like I chose Arvika for this year. I actually just locked it in. I was not planning on going to this, but I'm going to Kumite,
Oh,
and I'm
you're
going to
Kumite 6.
yeah, and I'm going to LobsterCon.
Yeah, I figured you were going to LobsterCon.
And there's not so the fall is at the moment, I'm probably holding the Hurricane event in Houston again, which will probably be late August, early September.
Okay, let
And
me write
then
that down.
I think, yeah, so I haven't locked that in. I need to lock in a date, but it's gonna be in hurricane season.
Hell yeah, can't wait.
Um, so I mean, we had 31 or 32 players last year, which is like that's a really great.
It's a sweet spot.
It's a really great sweet spot. The we had it in a pub in Houston. Event was great. It really was a fantastic event. I am not a natural organizer. I had some help, but I did a lot of the organizing for that. And again, I just have more respect for people that do that as someone who that it does not come naturally to me. So it's kind of a stressful thing for me, but I think the event turned out well. And then I think there's an invite only event I'm going to try to get to in the fall as well. That's all I
Nice.
have on the
Okay.
schedule right now. I'd love to try and get to another event in the summer if there's something, but I don't see anything on the calendar right now.
Yeah, the summer part gets hard. I mean, because your kids will be out of school too, so you got stuff
Kids
you
are out of
got to do.
school. They have yeah, but I mean, they're home at the weekend anyway.
Oh,
So,
that's
the holiday weekends are always tough because it's like good for some people and bad for other people, right? When you have like the long weekends with a bank holiday or what have you,
yep.
um, it's hard. I mean, I think that maximizing different events, like I've never been to Arvika, I've never been to Kumite, and I've never been to
Ja-
LobsterCon.
Going to Jackson. You
Yeah,
never been to
so
Lobster? Okay, hold on.
I've
Okay,
never been to
all right.
LobsterCon. Yeah, yeah. So, I think I picked some really good ones. Yeah, I googled Jackson, Michigan, and was like, "What is it known for?" And
Yeah.
it was like, "It's the birthplace of the Republican Party, and it has like the highest crime rate in Michigan."
Welcome to. I can't wait to hear the stories out of that one.
So,
It'll be
yeah.
fun. That's it.
Well,
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not Jackson, Mississippi for everybody who's wondering, but
Michigan,
yeah,
Michigan.
we're gonna
Yeah,
be
so I'm flying
Michigan,
into
MI.
Detroit. Yeah, so I just booked my flight into Michigan. So I had a flight credit because my flight got delayed from Arvika. So
Sure.
I had some flight credit from Spirit, but I'm asking for it, Eric. I'll just tell you now. I'm asking for this, right? So Friday night I'm flying in to
Yep.
Michigan.
hmm
I'm renting a car. I believe myself, DFB, and Will are driving to Jackson um,
Ooh. Uh huh.
Friday. Saturday we play. Sunday we're drive back to Detroit. I'm gonna fly to Cincinnati uh,
Okay.
because I have to be in work. I have to be in Cincinnati for work Monday.
Oh, you gotta be. Oh, okay. You're not. You're not. Okay. Yep. Uh huh.
But so Sunday I'm trying to meet up with the Cincinnati guys. I think a lot of them are actually going to be at Kumite, but I'm hoping that I can like eat dinner and jam some games with them Sunday night,
hmm
just real casual. And then Monday I have work, and then Tuesday morning I need to fly back to Houston because Tuesday afternoon I'm flying to Orlando for a wedding. Don't even ask. It's at Disney, and I'm not happy about it,
It's
but
at Disney.
it's at Disney.
Oh, dude.
But we're like, okay, it's my cousin, so we can't get out of it.
Yeah.
But
You're committed.
we're committed. Well, we're the only ones that like it's a good flight. Everyone else is flying from the UK. Um,
Oh.
yeah, so we're like, let's just add on the days and we'll take the kids to Disney. Kids are 5 and 8, so they're like at a fine age. So we're gonna go to Disney. We're just gonna spend 3 days at Disney. It was like we're already flying to Orlando because I was like, let's do it. We're one and done. Let's do it one time. I'm not.
Oh
You
my
can probably
God.
tell from this. I'm not a Disney. I actually like theme parks. I'm just not a Disney fan.
That's
You're
fair.
paying a lot of money for the upsell of Disney, and like the upsell of Disney doesn't really do anything for me. So I'd rather just have the roller coasters and the rides and all this stuff. But
Simon, how physically have you been staying in shape physically? Because have you? I'll send it to you on Instagram. But there like is like a workout for dads who are taking their kids to Disney, and it's like carrying a kid on your shoulders,
yeah,
bicep curling water bottles. There's some.
I
I'll send it to you.
okay. I'm pretty lazy. I do walk. I walk a lot. I will say I'm good.
That's
Like
probably good.
yeah, I mean I take the stairs at work. I work on the fourth floor. So like I do. I always park far away and walk. I do like the like small things. Like I'm
Yes,
pretty good at that, but I haven't been inside of a gym in a very long time. Um,
that is going to be a crushing trip, but I think your kids will be very excited about it.
the kids will be happy. My wife is excited to go to like Harry Potter. We're going to Universal one day as well, so
Yeah,
she
yeah,
can go
yeah.
do
Got
like
to.
Harry Potter stuff. It's fine, right? We have to pay for the flights and hotel anyway. It makes sense to add onto it, right?
Yeah,
Again, may as well max value since
sunk cost fallacy. Just keep going.
we're already there. I mean,
You're
and
already there.
the price is outrageous. I mean, the prices are absolute.
I know. I know.
They're outrageous, but again, we already paid for the flights, and it's a couple more days in the hotel. So, but yeah, the tickets and stuff are just it's crazy. Um, I can't believe people do that. And the most wild thing to me is one is people. My wife knows some people. They go with their kids. Okay, that's fine. That's normal.
Sure.
As long as everybody enjoys it, go for it. And I'm not one to shit on anyone's parade. Do like whatever you like,
Yep.
but I do find it slightly weird when they go to Disney sans kids.
Oh, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna talk about this. This is not nerd card related at all. There are fucking gangs of Disney people, right?
No,
So
I know
there are.
this.
Okay, all right. If you okay, for the two people still listening, an hour and 37 minutes in, there are gangs of fucking Disneyland, and they have like cuts and shit, and it is fucking insane. Like, I know that like playing Magic is kind of insane at our age, right? But like, there's some value in it. These people just go to Disneyland, and they have like, I I don't get it. Like, fuck.
It's yeah,
It's
I mean, again,
wild weird.
I don't want to yuck on anyone's yums. Everyone is
I'll yuck
entitled
on
to
that
whatever.
specific yum, but
It's weird to me because it's like, what is the thing that you're? It's not the best place for any. There's nothing you could tell me that that's what you're going for. That it's the best place for. Because like, I want to go and walk around. Okay, well, there's fucking nature. Just literally
you can do
anywhere
that for
is
free anywhere, anywhere.
is not well, yeah, or you like go somewhere like I don't know, go to Utah or Wyoming or something and
Hmm.
stay in a hotel, like go hiking. Fun. So it's not for nature or walking. It's not for food because the food is god awful. And if I hear another person tell me how good the Dole Whip is, I'm gonna lose my goddamn mind, Eric. Like it's a frozen treat, like, Jesus Christ, guys, like, this is not good food. So, anyway, yeah, I mean, you can go to a Chili's and eat the same quality of food that they have, at
Yeah,
Disney.
100%. Microwave,
Um,
microwave prepared.
rubbish, and it's like and if you like roller coasters, there's better places for roller coasters and
I'm gonna
rides.
shout out Six Flags for that. I think it's probably your best roller coaster place, in my opinion.
So, I know I've never been, but I've heard from enough people, there's a place in Ohio that people say
What's
is the
the
best. It's
name?
called Cedar Point,
Oh, I'm
and I
not
think it's supposed to have,
familiar.
like, the biggest, tallest, fastest, largest wooden it's like one of those places, but it's just roller coasters, right? It's supposed to be, like, really good. I haven't been, but a couple people have told me, like, it is really good.
Okay, I'll take your word on that. I don't. I guess I just googled it. Yeah, okay. I like with the proximity to Six Flags. I guess
Yeah, yeah,
that's like
it's
the Texas go to.
yeah, I mean, it's probably the best place in Texas. We've been with the kids, they liked it, just don't go in the summer because Jesus Christ.
You'll die. You will die.
I thought I was gonna die. I took my kids on like, they wanted to go on, like, the big circle one in the water, so I was like, "Okay, well, we'll get, like,
Yeah,
Splash and it'll be good." But the line was, like, whatever, 90
2 hours, 3 hours.
minutes,
Yeah.
and, like, my youngest so he's 5 now, he would have been 4, let's say. He just had, like, a mental breakdown about it. Like, he just, like, had a
Yeah.
full-on breakdown, and it was just like, "We're almost there." Like, he's like, "No, I don't wanna do it anymore." It's just like, "Oh my god. Oh my god." Like, we have to get on this fucking ride. Yeah, it's, s standing in lines in the summer in Orlando, quite frankly, either or, anywhere in Texas is chaos. But
Yes.
spring and fall, like, I mean, the weather is, like, lovely right now. It's actually been a lovely day here. Weather has been gorgeous the last couple days.
Dude, I believe it. That's the one thing I kind of miss. It just rains a lot up here. The summer is absolutely fantastic, but uh, it just rains a lot. But otherwise, not too terrible. Any closing thoughts?
Yeah, where do you get the name for your podcast?
Did I not steal it from you?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, yeah, no, I'll be honest if I steal some shit. Fucking 100%.
No, no, I
Uh,
freely gave it, to be fair, it wasn't stolen. I did give the recommendation, but it wasn't stolen. It was freely given, so you were welcome to it.
the
I wasn't
what else? Oh, you pointed out. Okay, so like on the like on the
Discord,
the fucking yeah on the Discord, but like uh the emblem, quote unquote, I
the
guess, of like
logo.
the pod. Yeah, the logo. Thank you. You're like no black cards, and I was like, because I just had those cards, and I just took a picture. I didn't even think about it. But you're completely right. Like it's just a couple cards, and it could have been like Wooberg, one of the best cards at each of those, and I just didn't even fucking do it. I was like, whatever, fuck
Punt.
it,
It's fine.
just like fucking out there.
Yeah. No, it's good. Ideas are easy. You have to execute. So, you've been doing the podcasting. You've been doing the hub hop.
This is we'll talk after about how easy this is. I don't want to give away like how the secret how the sausage is made too much, but like I think we all know how lazy I can be. So all right, I'm gonna actually stop the podcast right here, but I do have like a kind of weird work question. Okay, so let me
Yeah.
just do this real quick.